After the U.S. commander in Iraq delivered his full report on the course of the war to former President George Bush in 2007, opponents of that conflict mocked him as General Petraeus. Now, one protest group, MoveOn.org, even bought a full page in the New York Times that pounded the negative nickname into the public conscience. And as it turns out now, the nickname really does fit, but the only people who have been wronged are the family of David Petraeus. Now, the CIA director resigned over the weekend after admitting to an extramarital affair. His previously secret hanky-panky was discovered during an FBI probe into a potential security breach at America's top spy agency. Now, what the investigators found instead were the cookie crumbs of infidelity, and down went one of the most decorated military officers in the country's recent history. Now, many reacting to the story online feel the incident is a reminder that great power demands great responsibility. And here's what many of them had to say.
I remember that this guy was once considered a perfect presidential candidate for the Republicans by the media, and it was said that he was the best general since Eisenhower to possibly become the president. But this guy just repeated several times that he wouldn't participate in the election, and from this news, I think we see the reason. I feel pity for this great general, but that's the price you pay to be an official. In my opinion, at least, you can fall in love with a girl without causing so much trouble if you're not an official. Although it sounds a little improper, I think they match each other perfectly. I didn't know his mistress came from West Point and then graduated from Harvard. She is a high-quality girl.
Now, on the other hand, a few commenters compared what has happened to Petraeus with the shady dealings of certain officials in China. Now, while higher-ups constantly denounce sleazy behavior from their bully pulpits, some individuals on the local level have practically maintained modern-day harems, and quite a few kept their jobs without anyone so much as battling an eyelash. Now, those are some serious binders full of women. Now, with that in mind, is what Petraeus did really a big deal? Well, Weibo users weigh in and give their opinions. Let's find out.
Well, it seems the old saying is true. It's hard for heroes to overcome the challenges posed by beauties. I think maybe the whole thing isn't as simple as what we're being told, and I really think this story is suitable to become a Hollywood movie. I think the lessons we can learn from this is that people always need to do the right thing. If one day the person does something which is not right and gets caught by someone else, then they will never know when they might lose everything because it's the small mistake.
The 60-year-old Petraeus has been married to his wife Holly for nearly 4 decades, and they have 2 adult children as well. And while the identity of the woman he was carrying on with has not been officially confirmed, several major news organizations, including NBC and The Guardian, have identified her as Paula Broadwell, the writer of a book about the general published earlier this year. Now, if that's true, it would seem that she was writing about his life while simultaneously turning it upside down. And as you might expect, the internet community in China has a whole lot to say about her too. Let's take a look.
In my view, at least, Petraeus is a real hero, since he dares to bear the responsibilities for what he has done. But what about the Chinese officials? The reasons we sometimes feel so angry towards them is because they're just so shameless. Look at the mistresses they find, and look at what we have seen in China. I have to say their tastes are a big step up from ours.
President Barack Obama selected Petraeus to lead the CIA in April of 2011, and he took office just over 4 months later. Now, the general was known as a demanding boss who expected those working at the agency to perform their best, but also avoided the press and repeatedly denied having any plans to run for the White House. After graduating from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point in 1974, Petraeus spent the next 30 years working his way up through the Army hierarchy. He saw combat for the first time during the 2003 invasion of Iraq and had his profile rise after rhetorically asking a reporter to tell him how the war would end. Now, by the time American troops were drawn down, he was in the thick of the action. But now his impressive career has come to a stunning end.